Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 554 for August 30th, 2023. And thank you again for clicking on Ham Nation here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. We really appreciate you doing that. We're going to bring you some fun and interesting ham radio news and some stories. But first, we're going to say hi to all of our hosts here. And we got a very special message right up top. Mr. Bob Heil is in the house. How are you doing, Bob? How you been?
Well, I've been terrible. I couldn't do anything for about 2 months. I had some kind of muscle disorder, and 5,000 steroids over at Barnes Hospital has kind of cured it. I'm able to do a lot of things, and amazing. I can get on and talk to people. I can do everything. The best part of my life, as many of you know, is being able to play the organ. And this was taken about, maybe 2 hours ago. There's an organ down here in the basement of the assisted living that I'm at right now until we get all cured. And I play every day, which has helped my neuropathy. So I am so thrilled. And I wanted to come on tonight to tell everybody the hundreds and hundreds of cards and letters and phone calls and all the blessings and prayers. Thank you, because that is what brought me back. And the only thing I have to do now, and the rehab's working on it, is walk. And I'm real close to it. So we'll keep you posted. In the meantime, I am so grateful for amateur radio and all of you that are giving care and concern about me. So thanks so much. And Josh, thanks for letting me jump on here with everybody tonight. I'm so thrilled.
We're all thrilled to see you here tonight. And you were kind of talking. We were talking beforehand. You said, I think you said it briefly, but you're pretty much everything but walking at this point. So it was kind of a miracle. They hit you with whatever they did, and you've just been bouncing back, right?
Well, I had problems. They'd send me to these different doctors, and then one and to the other. They sent me to neurosurgeons. I don't need to be operated on. I said, I know my body. It's my legs. The bottom half of my legs are gone. The muscles are like rubber bands. And finally, I'm very serious about this. We got serious with the neurologist. I need to go to a muscle guy. And he sent me to a professor of muscle disease. Thank you. Immediately sent me over to Big Barnes Hospital in St. Louis, and they started giving me bags of steroids, 1,000 at a crack. I said I had 5,000 total in 5 days. Wow. And they brought me back over here to the rehab center, and the next day, I think I can stand. I think I can hold a fork. I think I can cut my food. I think I can take a shower. I think I can do everything.
That's so good.
It was like, what a miracle. And yes, Josh, I can do just about everything. And little things you don't think about. Putting eye drops in. I couldn't squeeze the bottle. I can do it now.
That's awesome, man. You definitely sound more invigorated, too. We talked a couple of times on the phone, but you sound like you're ready to go, like you're ready to get back on the radios any day here, right?
Yeah, well, the next thing, if I can walk, and that's real close, if I can walk, I will be back home, and all of those radios you see behind me, they will be on the air. And thanks, everybody. Yay. Thank you so much for letting me be.
That's awesome.
That is excellent.
That's wonderful.
Bob, thank you so much again for hopping on and to give everybody an update. I know people, as you said, you got hundreds, if not thousands, of QSL cards. Wishing you a happy return. So we appreciate it. You gave us the update here.
Thank you.
So
Absolutely.
I do have, in somewhat of a somber news, I'll mention this up front. We wanted to talk to Bob immediately, but Amanda is going to be taking a bit of time for herself and her family. They're going through some things in the background and just wants everybody to know that she's fine. She doesn't exactly know how long the absence will be, but she's taking care of her family. She loves all of us here on the Ham Nation and all the crew and everybody who watches. Just be looking out for her on the air because she's going to be active on ham radio. That's not going to change. She just needs to take a little bit of break from some of the stress of running this show and having to deal with crazy people like Dawn.
And she's still working behind the scenes to help us out. She's just not on camera. She really is, yeah. She put the show together for us tonight.
She did.
Yeah.
So we're going to miss you, Amanda. We love you. And we love you too, Bob.
Indeed.
Yes. It's good to see you, Bob. Bob, you look so good.
Yes, he does.
Looking good.
Yeah. And Don, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. We got back from we went to Huntsville to the Ham Fest where I saw you, Josh, and it was great. Yeah. Really enjoyed that. And then came home and then immediately back the next weekend, went to Texas, did a 1,400-mile round. Basically, we went to Dallas by way of Houston, which is kind of the long way. It's a 1,400-mile circle. And I'll tell you what we did coming up a little bit later in the show. It was a very cool trip. I put nothing about it on Facebook because it was a surprise for someone in Texas. And I'll tell you about that here in just a little bit. But first, we got something kind of rare happening tonight. We've got a full moon. You've heard of that. You've heard of a blue moon, okay? And you've heard of a super moon. All three tonight.
All three.
Very rare occurrence. And we've got a guest who's going to be talking about moon bounce. But we got Dr. Tamitha Skov coming up with the solar report right after Newsline. She does the moon, too. So she's going to talk a little bit about the moon, probably. And I know she's going to mention Hurricane, what's her name?
Idalia.
Idalia. She didn't hit me, so I didn't have to learn her name. You know?
Is that like an onion? Idalia onion? No, that's a Vidalia onion.
Vidalia. Those are sweet. This one was not so sweet.
This is not so sweet.
I have a sister that's right in the middle of it on the beach at Tampa. And it has missed them. So we're blessed.
Luckily it went in north of Tampa. So that's good. Anyway, we've got all that coming up and more. And let's see what's going on over on this side with the blonde.
So Val's here.
Well, we got a place. Yeah, we got a place in Citrus County, which was originally supposed to get landfall. It made landfall about an hour and a half north of us. So, but Crystal River is flooding now. A lot of people, about 18,000 people may have lost their homes just east of us, about 12 miles. I mean, west of us, about 12 miles. So, but we're elevated. That was one of the requirements when we got a place down there, good antenna propagation, and it paid off. We're 77 feet up. So
that's good.
That helped a lot where our property is. So, but yeah, I've been up all night. I think I'm on 2 hours of sleep. My parents got stung by bees yesterday.
Oh no.
Over 100 bee stings in my stepdad alone and a dog, my brother's dog. So it's just been a crazy 24 hours, but everything's good. Speaking of moon bounce, this guy's over here is doing moon bounce right now with that super moon. He's all excited. Jerry's been on the air. So
ask Jerry.
That's the moon bounce going on. But I've got a great segment in a bit here. And obviously, we got Labor Day coming up. So we're going to be talking about some ribs. I mean, who doesn't like ribs?
Hey, Val, can you ask Jerry a question for me? So with the super moon, does that make the EME better, or what does it do? Does it do anything?
Jerry, question. Does
another country heard
from. When I yell at Jerry, the dog goes. The
dog.
Does the supermoon make it EME better?
The moon is really close right now.
It's so much closer, so you're not going to lose as much. Probably
1.4, which is excellent.
Yeah, it's 1.4 degradation. Now, what is it normally?
Like 3. 3 is anything less than 3 is good.
So
it was just recently 6 to 10. So
anything less than 3 is good. It was recently 6 to 10, and now it's 1.3 right now. So
that's good.
Wow. Okay.
He was all excited for this supermoon today.
I'm copying Lance.
So he's copying Rodriguez Island right now. Yep, he's copying Lance on 3 Bravo 9 Golf Juliet right now. So
it's like golf.
Rodriguez Island from Illinois.
You want low par. It's like golf. Lower the score, better.
Yeah, and 6 meters.
Oh, there.
And you lose so much signal when you go all the way to the moon and back, right? You use lose 95% of that signal. So pretty amazing.
Well, very good.
Jerry's totally into it.
Yeah. I love it. Well, we'll hear him, and maybe he'll add more for us as he continues to make QSOs throughout the episode. But Bob, thanks again. Hang out for as long as you want to, but of course, rest up, and we hope to hear you again soon on the air. But for now, we're going to throw over to Valerie, and we're going to learn about these ribs. What's going on with these ribs, Val?
Yeah.
I like the dry
coming in the middle of the segment.
Thanks,
Bye,
Bob.
Bye, Bob. Thank you. It's nice to see you. So I got Hal here, Hal Turley, Whiskey 8 Hotel Charlie. Now, Hal, he's been on a bunch of DXpeditions, probably about 25. Some of them very major. I mean, he's been on some major ones with Jerry, and that's how I met Hal originally. And he's been doing a lot of the DX holiday style, the smaller, easier to do DXpeditions, which are really a lot of fun. So we're going to kind of go over some of his DXpedition history here. Not all of it, because we don't have an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we're just doing the condensed version. So
yeah.
Hal, why don't you tell us about that first one there? Well, welcome, Hal. Hal's been licensed 55 years.
Yeah, since
You got licensed when you were
1967.
2.
You do the math. But yeah, it's a long time, and I've got the gray hair to show it. But yeah, anyway, I
You
don't know.
look good.
I don't know if this is my first time on Ham Nation, but I appreciate
I think it is.
the opportunity to be here, and I'll say hello to everybody, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah, it's been a busy, at least the last 13 months or so, and I've done several DXpeditions, and I just wanted to just touch on the ones that I've done in the last year. And the first one, it was up there for a second, the K7K. It's up in Kiska Island. It's in the Aleutian Islands. We did that last July, and there were 6 of us. And if you're familiar with Kiska, or maybe you've seen the story on this, we've done some presentations on it. This is the next to the last island in the Aleutian Islands, out in the Bering Sea. So it's an uninhabited island. It's a very historic island, and it was just a real treat to see some of the sites there, remnants from World War II. And that was my main reason that I wanted to go, was to see some of the remnants from World War II, and it was an IOTA expedition. We had actually tried to go on in 2021. So did that one in July.
Is it inhabited?
Pardon me?
That island
No, it's not.
inhabited?
It is not inhabited. You have to get permission from Fish and Wildlife Service. It's actually a National Historic Park, a World War II historic park. And we took, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, we took a Japanese flag out there. It was a commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the Japanese invasion and takeover of this island. This is one of the few places that the Japanese had occupied of the United States in World War II. There was another island out there that they captured. It's a fascinating story. If anybody's a World War II buff, I had no idea about what took place at Kiska Island, Attu Island, out in the Bering Sea, but it's a fascinating historical account. And so we had been contacted by a ham in Japan who was from the hometown of the commander that was the Japanese commander of that island. And so we took a Japanese flag and sent that to that ham, and he presented it to a school there in that town. And there's a big old story that goes along with it that I won't go into detail, but it's another show, and it gives me chill bumps to think about this, and it was a real pleasure and an honor for us to do that. So let's fast forward a little bit. So that was in July, and so in the next slide, we
Working on it.
I think there were 9 of us that went to Svalbard, Juliet Whiskey Zero Alpha, and so that would have been in what was that? What I have there, February?
September
September.
2022.
Yeah, that was in September. Yeah, I've lost track of time. I've been so many places. But we were up in Svalbard. We operated up there, and what an interesting place that is, up in the Arctic Circle. And hopefully there's a lot of folks that are watching this evening, viewers that maybe had an opportunity to work us there and at Kiska. And
Amanda said that you ate reindeer when you were there?
We had reindeer. I had reindeer pizza, which was quite interesting. I had reindeer soup, and it's just a fascinating place. And I would have
pineapple on the reindeer pizza?
No, that's Hawaiian. You're getting it mixed up. But that's okay.
Oh, that's such a controversy.
And so I know Val, you and Jerry know this, but when I got back from Svalbard, I had a health issue, and I was laid up for a little while. And so came out of that, and I decided, I need to do more DXpeditioning. So that's kind of my focus. So let's pull the next slide up. the next one that I was able to do would have been in March of this year, and that would have been the 9G4X. Went to Ghana, and we operated. There were 9 of us that went over there, and this DXpedition was it was originally going to be organized by some of my friends over in Israel, my 4X friends, thus the 9G4X call sign that we were able to get. But unfortunately, they weren't able to go. They asked if Greg W6IZT and I wanted to go ahead and coordinate it, and we did. And we got a team together and went over with one of the locals over there, and just had a tremendous time operating from 9G. And it was really my first experience in that part of the world, and we were very successful with that DXpedition, I felt. So the next DXpedition actually would have been in July, and just this last month, I guess, and that was the KH-8RRC, the American Samoa, and it was an IOTA and a park expedition as well. And there were 3 of us that went to that. We were there for a little over 2 weeks, and made about 26,000 QSOs.
Wow.
Jerry and I were in American Samoa on our way to Swains at the NH8S DXpedition in that would have been in 2012.
I know. I was a pilot for that one. I remember.
2012.
Yeah,
and
I
so,
don't remember the year.
Yeah,
all a blur.
Pango Pango, and just a beautiful place, and I really enjoyed the time over there. If you ever have an opportunity to go there, I highly recommend it. It's just absolutely gorgeous out there. Now, in June, I didn't pop a slide up here, but in June, I was one of the participants in the VP6A DXpedition, which was the RIB expedition, and I think that's what Valerie was referring to, the Radio in a Box project that the Northern California DX Foundation with George Wallner, Alpha 7, Japan Victor, are taking these radio in a box applications and putting them on locations and operating over internet using Starlink. And so I was part of that team. Very successful operation. I think they made we made about 60,000 contacts from Ducie. It was Ducie Island, and so that was really the first real test of the RIB radios. And so let's see, what's the next slide?
That's what's coming up.
Yeah. So my next major excursion outside of the U.S., I was invited to participate with the Charlie Bravo 0 Zulu Alpha. It's Juan Fernandez Island. It's down off the coast of Chile, and Juan Fernandez is number 61 on the most wanted list, and so we'll be down there for a week. Some of our Chilean friends, and I think there's 3 of us from the States that are going to be participating in this. This is going to be a pretty big DXpedition, and I'm looking forward to doing this with my buddy Otis, MP4G, and so this will be a good time, and so looking forward to that.
So why does it have Robinson Crusoe on the call?
That is actually the name of the island that that's in the.
Did it have anything to do with that?
Well, there's some speculation that there was a gentleman who was stranded on this island, and that this was the driver for the book. Was it Defoe wrote Robinson Crusoe, I believe, and supposedly that this gentleman who was stranded on this particular island was the character, was the basis for the Robinson Crusoe story. So I don't know if that's true or not. We're going to run with it, though. You know, who's going to argue?
Yeah, for sure. Get some mileage out of that.
But it's going to be interesting. But believe it or not, Valerie, and if you switch to the next slide, I'm actually on a DXpedition right now. And so this is, I'm working with the guys. Again, it's with the RIB project. George and 3 other operators are out at North Cook Islands of Penryn Atoll, and perhaps some of the viewers have worked E51 Delta at the North Cooks. It's very exciting, and Mike, KN4EEI, who is George's assistant and is one of the operators out there, had forwarded me some images here, a couple slides. And so somebody's been trying to work.
They're
Keep
working
trying,
you.
keep
They're
trying.
trying.
Well,
Yeah, keep
he's
trying.
going right back to the radio when we're done here. Monsoon. Just,
We've got about 30 operators are on a schedule here, taking turns operating the ribs. So here you see George had secured permission to land on this little sandbar here that's part of Pen Run Atoll. And you can see one of the antennas here in the foreground, and you see that
little boat, teeny tiny boat.
Well, you see the dinghy out in the water, but then on the land there is a craft. And if you go to the next slide, this is kind of the what is where the ribs are located. This was built and designed by George and Mike. That's Mike in the picture. And you look on there, this is a little pontoon boat that has wheels on it. It's was designed and constructed just for the rib project. You'll see the two boxes there on the boat on each side of the platform there. There's I think he has two of the generators, the Honda generators on there. The antennas, the 900 megahertz link that allows us to operate the radios in the box from the boat, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But so in one box is a high-powered, it's essentially a 1,000-watt radio that is operated locally from Magnet. That's the name of the boat. And then the other box contains two low-power radios that we are operating remotely. One of them is dedicated to CW. One of them is dedicated to FT8. Now, the local, what we're calling the local radio, also has been used to operate some SSB, but for the most part, it's pretty much if you look on Club Log and in the Expeditions section, you'll see that I think Don Greenbaum, he did an upload last night. We were up to about 26 or 27,000 QSOs after 5 days.
Wow.
And it was pretty much an even mix between CW and FT8. So making a lot of people happy from North Cook. So go ahead and go to the next slide. And so this kind of gives you an idea of the antennas. There's three vertical antennas there on the island. A couple of them are actually in the water, and they're doing a super job. Next slide, please. This is a aerial that Mike took, and it shows Magnet, it's a 48-foot catamaran, Power Cat, and I'd say they're about a half a mile off the coast there. And again, they're using 900 megahertz radios that are talking to the radios on the island. So that kind of gives you a little perspective there. The next slide, please. And so here's Tommy. Can you zoom that just a little bit, please? Okay, so that's Tommy, HA7RY. This is the operating position there. So
he's on the island. There's some kind of building structure there, or is he on the boat?
He's on the boat. This is on board Magnet, and so Tommy is able to sit there and operate the high power station, what we call the local station. You see the two laptops there on the right. One of those is looking at the screen and looking at the software of what's running in the ribs. Okay, each one of them is running the software of what's going on in the box, or monitoring what's going on in the box. And if you look at the laptop, be the second from the right, that is the FT8 laptop, and then the one on the right is the CW laptop. So they can sit there and watch what we're doing as we're making contacts. We're running N1MM as our logging software, WSJTX is our FT8 software, and then the CW guys, I'm not operating the CW, but the CW guys have some other software that somebody else would need to talk about that. So next,
one guy operating, that guy's operating from there. You got 2 other stations. What are the other 2 laptops for then?
Okay, so I'm controlling when I'm on the air. I'm accessing the FT8 laptop. The guys that are operating CW are accessing the CW laptop on the right. Okay, and so there's 3 stations. Just think of it as 3 stations there. Tommy's only doing the one in front of him there, operating CW. Okay, he operates he's a heck of a CW operator. So if you go to the next slide, and this, I did a little screenshot, and the resolution's not really good, but this is the FT8 station, and this is what I'm looking at. This is what I see, and so on the right, you're seeing the what the radio's doing. We're using a 6600 series flex radio. You've got the N1MM software, and then WSJT is our software that we're running on FT8, and we're running where we click on the stations that are calling us in the left side. You have to click on each one of those manually, and it puts it down in. You can't see it, Valerie, but your call sign is the top one in the queue there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this was when I worked you a couple nights ago.
Okay.
And so anyway.
Can't believe you had that.
So this is the process. And
nice.
So if you were able to see in the upper right-hand corner, we're only putting out about 70 or 80 watts, and running on this occasion, I think I was running three streams, and so we're making three contacts each time. We are running Foxhound. Yes, we are. So if any of you are trying to work us, make sure that you're a hound and you have it in Foxhound mode. And you can go to the website, or not the website, but the QRZ page, E51D, to see the frequencies that we're using there. But a lot of spots. Check DX Summit, and you'll find us. So it's been really fun doing the RIB project. The whole concept is to allow some of these DXpeditions to get to some of the places that aren't as easily accessible these days, and so it's a very eco-friendly format for DXpeditioning, and as
well, and easy on the pocketbook. Only 1 or 2 guys need to go instead of 12.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's working out really well. So anyway, if you haven't worked this yet, keep trying, and we'll see what we can do. The only other thing I wanted to do was a shameless plug. Hey,
Jerry, we need to do this. Jerry's in there. Yeah.
That's right. Jerry's on the board of directors of INDEXA, and
he's worth a lot of points. He's worth it if you work him.
25 points. So this coming month, September, will mark the 40th anniversary of INDEXA, the International DX Association, and so one of the ways that we wanted to commemorate this is with a worldwide QSO party, and it's pretty neat way for INDEXA members and non-members alike to participate, and so we're hoping for a lot of activity. The dates, can you see it better than I can, Val?
No,
it starts next Saturday. It starts Saturday.
September 2nd.
Yep.
So 0 UTC September 2nd until 2400 UTC September 10th.
Exactly. And if you want information, go to the INDEXAQSOparty.com. A special user-defined software program has been developed for N1MM Plus. You will need to download that, or you should download that. If you work a INDEXA member, all the members their information is in this database. If you work a member, you get 3 points. If you work a non-member, you get 1 point. If you work an officer like me or Jerry, you get 25 points. So, and we've got trophies. I believe Jerry's even sponsoring one of the trophies, and maybe you are too.
Oh, he always does that.
He always
Yeah,
does.
I'm sure
he
he
always
is.
does that. So anyway, we hope we
I
have.
do too. I sponsor YL trophies all the
Oh,
time.
oh,
So
great. Well, we
YL,
should
top
do-
YL stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, looking forward
Got
to
to
the
give back.
INDEXA QSO party. So, yeah, should be a lot of fun.
I got some questions
Yeah.
for you if you're ready for
Yes, sir.
questions. Or Val, do you
We're
need to
ready.
go through some? So obviously, you're since you're putting less people on there, you're going to have to remote the station and all that good stuff. What kind of more what's your power demands? Have they gone up significantly when you're in that kind of setup? I saw the gas tanks and how do you run for power?
So they're running two Honda i2000 generators in parallel, and George has designed this energy efficient. He uses a bank of capacitors, and it's pretty technical, and it's above my pay grade. But just know this: there was a calculation done after the Ducey DXpedition that Greg did, and as I recall, they calculated it out that it's so efficient with this process, the way he's got this set up, that they calculated that they're using like a teaspoonful of gasoline to make a contact. Okay, a teaspoon or some portion of a teaspoon. It's published out there on the I think on George's QRZ
I can't
page.
believe they haven't measured.
Well,
So 26,000 Qs is.
Well, they knew how many gallons they used in the DXpedition and divided by the number of contacts and came up with this. And so it's really amazing. I forget how many gallons were actually consumed, but this is it's a lot more efficient use of fuel the way this is set up. Because of this capacitor bank, the generators aren't throttling. Okay?
Right. That makes sense.
They're not throttling. So, anyway, is there somebody else had a? There you go. Here we got a techie there. Yeah, they're smoothing out the power. Great.
Yeah, I like
Thank
the
you,
other
James.
one.
Thank you, James.
A teaspoon of petrol helps the QSO go down. That's a good one. I like that. Hal, what got you into amateur radio?
You will not believe if I tell you, because this is such a far-fetched story. But when I was 2 years old, the people that my parents rented from, they had a son who was in high school, was a ham radio operator, and I used to go over and watch him operate. I was so fascinated by that, and I don't know, it kind of stuck with me. And then as I got older, I had a Bakelite AM radio in my bedroom, and I would listen to DX stations like WOWO in Fort Wayne, Indiana, or WLS in Chicago, and that was DX for me, that I could sit in my bedroom or lay in bed and listen to a station far away. So it was just a natural progression, and so I learned Morse code when I was in Boy Scouts, and it's like I've got to get a ham radio license. So my dad was very supportive of it, and here we are. In my wildest dream, I never would have thought that I'd be able to go to some of the places that that I talked to years ago when I had my general class and was just starting out. So,
Hal, did you ever listen to KOMA when you were DXing out of Oklahoma City?
What was it?
KOMA, 50,000 watt at 1520.
No.
I worked there. I spent about a year there, and we had a map. This was in the early 80s. We had a map on the control room wall, and there were pins all over it, a world map for contacts. And I used to get letters from all over the world. I got a call one night, I worked overnight, from a lady up in Maine, and all of the signal went west at night. So for it to get to her, it went long path. And you could hear the delay on the phone when I was talking to her on the phone. It was just, I was just wondering if you ever listened to Tacoma.
No, but I started when I was about 13. My dad got me a little Hallicrafters general coverage shortwave radio, and I put a long wire out in the backyard. And I would send. I still have QSL cards from 1965.
Very cool.
A Radio Havana, Radio Moscow, Radio Radio Vatican. I've got maybe a dozen QSL cards of SWL from the foreign broadcast. They did, the English language.
Yep.
And you send them a report, and they would send you a nice QSL card.
Oh, yeah. I also worked at WRNO New Orleans when they had the WRNO Worldwide. And occasionally we would simulcast the FM album rock on the shortwave. And this was in the 80s. And, and so these people in the Eastern Bloc countries who maybe weren't exposed to Western rock and roll radio were hearing that for the first time. They were hearing, rock and roll and Levi's commercials and Fall Into the Gap, on their radio, and they blew their minds. It was very cool to be on that when we were simulcasting. I just wanted to touch base and see if you'd ever listen to those.
Did AM broadcast stations, did they have QSL cards?
Yeah. So,
Okay,
all
right.
KOMA, I think KOMA did. I know WWL in New Orleans did. Pretty much all of the big 50,000 watt clear channels did. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I did the shortwave.
Yep.
I think I hit most of my questions. Thank you, chat. By the way, if I'm trying to do my best to hang on with Amanda being out, but Amanda's also in the chat asking questions, so I think we got to most of them. It looks like a fantastic setup. Boy, being on that catamaran is one thing, but also being able to be on a DXpedition, but also at home at the same time. I think I have to work my brain around that. Concept.
What's really nice is I can just reach over and grab my drink and
flush toilets, hot showers, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Jerry and I could tell some horror stories sometime about nicks and bites.
I was gonna ask some great, I was gonna ask you what's your funniest or scariest moment on a DXpedition? Maybe I'll ask it since we lost a couple of hosts tonight. We're a little short-ended anyway. Okay. So, do you have a scary or wild story from one of your DXpeditions? I know you've been on so many.
Well, so the very first one I did was the Swains in 2012 with Jerry, and so that's the one where we were all getting bitten by something, and my leg got infected, and
wow.
It was really bad. It was just terrible. And so I got in hold of my son. He met me at the airport when I got home and took me to the ER, and I was in the hospital for 3 days.
Wow.
They had to drain my leg and do all kinds of nasty stuff, give me IV antibiotics. So that was kind of a scary situation. And then fast forward, the story that I mentioned about coming back from Svalbard, the JW0A, I started feeling bad up there, and it just kind of got worse and worse. And I ended up when we were coming back home, we were in Oslo, and we had our flight was the next day, and Greg and I were sitting in the restaurant, and I wear an Apple iWatch, and it's one of these newfangled things that monitor you and whatnot, and it told me that I was having atrial fibrillation.
Wow.
Which, I have a little bit of elevated blood pressure, but anyway, it was telling me I had AFib, and it's like, what do I do here? So I got a hold of my son, and there was some debate whether I should go to the hospital. Bottom line was I flew home the next day, and I went immediately to the ER, and I was in cardiac ICU for 10 days.
Wow.
On that trip. So that was just kind of a scary situation, but.
It's probably a good thing you're doing the rib stuff.
Oh yeah.
Although are you going to Juan Fernandez?
I'm going to Juan Fernandez. Yeah.
That one you're going to.
But it's we're going to be staying in it's like a hotel there, and a
tree house.
No, it's not a tree house. The stations are located up on a mountain there, and so we'll be operating from tents up there, as I understand. But the most fun I've had is when I've been with Jerry. And I'm looking forward to a DXpedition with Jerry sometime again. So hopefully
we got to do something.
Yeah.
He's been promising me to put me in front of a pile up for a long time, and still hasn't happened. But yeah. Well, thanks, Hal. I appreciate you coming on, especially
All right,
last minute, because I think I just talked to you, I don't know, Friday. So appreciate it. And
Thank you.
good stuff.
All right. Well,
Good
thanks
stuff.
a lot, Val. And I appreciate meeting you guys, and have fun.
All right, get back
Yeah.
on that North Cook rig.
Yeah. Keep making those
So
contacts.
Monsoon can get that QSO, right?
Come back and see us again.
All right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
for sure.
Y'all take care.
Thank you.
73.
7-3.
And now Icom.
And people in the stream are telling me that there's no audio, so I don't know why that is. We're having some kind of issues with that. I don't understand why exactly. Let's see. Yep. So we may have a problem with ARN then. I'm not sure what's going on there, but okay. One more thing to try. Bit of a... Did that do it? Nope. Everybody restarted. So I'll go ahead and pause here. So let me just say a big thank you. That's not the right page either. See, we're falling apart today, guys. A big thank you to Icom.
It's just a weird 24 hours. Let's just get
I'll say right up front. Okay, so thanks everybody for the update on the audio. Do appreciate that. But we had a Skype update or something along those lines. I also updated my computer, which, by the way, the computer's running better than ever. It's not that. There seemed to be some kind of Skype update that now the audio isn't working on some of this stuff, and I don't know why, but that shouldn't have anything to do with my my broadcaster. So something else is afoot. That's also the reason why Gordo isn't here today. So it's going to be a short episode if we can't get Amateur Radio Newsline working right now, guys. I have to figure out a way to make this work. I've got one option.
We can read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
you can always go to the Amateur Radio Newsline, the arnewsline.org.
Yes.
And here, Amateur Radio Newsline, you can also go to the Newsline Facebook page and see the video.
Oh.
Because I always post that up in advance.
I've got a couple
So the
options.
Newsline video at least is on the Facebook page. You won't get Tamitha's. Tamitha did a private report for us tonight, so you won't get that. But
Well-
just go to her webpage, spaceweatherwoman.com, or check out her YouTube and her Twitter or X or whatever the heck it's called this week, and you can get everything that you need to get. It's just that you'll have to go hunt for some stuff. That's all.
Sure. Well, I've got a couple things I want to try, but first I do have to mention, hey guys, every time we go live, we give away 3 swag packs from Icom. Yes, every time you go to the website, link is in the description for Icom America. Hamnation. When you click on enter here, it'll ask you your name, your call sign, that kind of thing, your email, and they'll pick 3 swag pack winners. And this time, this episode's winners are Frank L, K9 GHZ gigahertz. I like it. William B, WB4NOL, and Stuart Y, W3FBL. At the end of this month, we will give away a radio, which if we go to the website here, scroll down a bit. What is the August giveaway? I think we're done. That was last time, so that was an ICV 86. Going into September, it'll be the new ICT 10. So make sure you enter in the contest. If you win a swag pack, that's all it takes to win at the end of the month for the radio giveaway. But you have to have won a swag pack and be on that list before you can get a chance at the other Icom radios. So, you know, that's how that works. I'm going to do one crazy thing. I'm going to open up a new tab here, and I'm just going to see if I can throw the video on here. What is it going to do if... Ah! Wait, is that working?
I hear it.
I
From
hear it
Amateur
too.
Radio Newsline.
Okay, hold on. Okay, nobody get excited.
Right.
It's now my privilege to throw it over to Dawn
Thank you.
and continue
Thank
the show.
you.
Go ahead, Dawn.
Thank you ever so much. Before we get into Amateur Radio Newsline and Dr. T's solar report, I want to tell you what I did last weekend. It's kind of a show and tell. I did kind of a covert trip to Dallas by way of Houston, which is not the direct route you want to go. It was a 1,400-mile round trip, but it was on the occasion of my sister Missy's surprise 60th birthday party, which she was totally shocked. She had no clue. That was on Saturday night. Now, on Friday night, the night that we got to Houston, I got to meet my other sister for the very first time. I met Missy 5 years ago. Susan, I just found less than a year ago, and just had the opportunity to go and meet her and her daughter and just a bunch of family. We had dinner over there, and it was great fun. Throw up that first picture, the Tex 1 picture, if you would, Josh. That is me and my sister Susan. Now, a little bit of trivia about this. My sister Missy and I share the birth mother, but we have different fathers. Susan and I share the father, but we have different mothers. So Missy and I are 3 years apart in age. Susan and I are 48 hours apart in age. Wow. 2 days apart, same year. And when I first spoke to her, first thing she asked me was, "Oh my God, please tell me what hospital you were born in." And I said, "I was born at Mercy Hospital." She says, "Oh, thank God, different hospitals. That would have been a little awkward." But she is as close, my wife Dawn says, she is as close to my twin as she can possibly be without us being actual twins from the same birth parents. So that's my sister Susan, and just a great time. She's amazing. The next one is the birthday girl, Missy. Me and Dawn and Missy on her surprise 60th birthday party, and it was great. She was shocked. She walked in, had no idea what she was walking into, and she sees everybody there. She was a high school All-American gymnast, and her high school gymnastics coach was there. Oh, it was very cool. Her best friend from high school was there, and that was very cool. And then she saw Dawn and I, and she ran over, and it was so cool. Her daughter Caroline put the whole party together. She'd been planning it for a year, and Caroline rocked it. Just absolutely perfect. We played Missy Bingo, where we had bingo cards and little symbols that were apropos to Missy's life. It was anyway. So that was my weekend. It was a great weekend, and man, I love my sisters. 58 years as an only child, always wanted a sister, and now I have two. And Missy is like the angel on this shoulder, and she makes me strive to be a better person. And Susan is like the devil on this shoulder, and I'm kind of bouncing back and forth in the middle, and it's exhausting, it's exhilarating, it's quite fun, and I love them like I love no other people besides my son and my wife. So there you go. That was my weekend. Now let's go ahead and get into the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline. I feel very blessed. I really do. From Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2391, this is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, August 30th, 2023. Can amateur radio expertise help hack a government satellite? All in the name of helping the United States tighten up its cybersecurity?
Some of the world's top hackers worked their way into an orbiting CubeSat known as Moonlighter to help the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Space Force expose vulnerabilities that could pose cybersecurity threats. The global competition known as Hackasat 4 recently announced the winners following the finalist rounds held in August. A team from Italy known as Macaroni captured the top honors. With skills in RF communications, reverse engineering, satellite operations, and vulnerability research paramount to success, a group of 40 full-time Northrop Grumman employees known as Space Bits R Us took up the challenge too, landing the 4th place spot. A number of hams were on the team, including Brian Wilkins, KO4AQF, and Wyatt Neal, KD8AQS, the team hacking lead. It has clearly paid off, not just for the government-sponsored contest, but for the Northrop Grumman team as well, which placed second in the finals for Hackasat 3. This is Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG.
Congratulations to India, which is celebrating a successful soft landing of a rover on the moon's surface.
Amateur radio operators joined the Indian Space Research Organisation and the rest of the nation in marking the arrival of the Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft near the moon's south pole on the 23rd of August. India's delivery of a rover to the lunar surface follows its 2019 attempt, which crashed. Shortly after this successful landing, 4 radio amateurs in India proudly got on the air calling QRZ with the call sign AT2ISRO. According to Aruna Vade, VU3XRY, who was one of the activators, this use of the ISRO call sign, like the moon landing itself, was a first for India. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
If you're not up to climbing difficult mountains and hill walking is more your thing, combining it with portable radio operations through an expanded award scheme might be just what you're looking for.
The first World HEMA Day is to take place on September the 1st and 2nd, bringing with it an opportunity for light exercise, fresh air, and perhaps some DX radio contact firsts that can qualify you for various certificates in the HEMA award scheme. This summit award scheme started in the UK, but has spread across Europe into Australia and is growing in Asia, Canada, and Oceania. HEMA summits are open 24/7, but this special day from 1200 UTC on Friday, September the 1st to 1200 UTC Saturday, September the 2nd gives the added advantage of concentrating the activity with the possibility of HEMA to HEMA contacts, perhaps with new DXCCs in the scheme and certainly with some never-before activated summits. Visit www.hema.org.uk to get the full details of this event and all of the other HEMA awards, but most of all, if you can, get out and enjoy being on the air in the fresh air. I'm Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, Graham Kemp, VK4BB, Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now, here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
Our sun has been taking it easy on us over this past week, but things are changing. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, we had been worried about two regions that were firing solar storms on the sun's far side. Both region 3417 and 3418 fired off two solar storms east of Earth. And so when they were rotating into Earth view, we were a little concerned that they might be big flare players. But now that we've gotten a better look at them, they're not a risk for big solar flares. So that's great, because that means the risk for radio blackouts on Earth's day side is way down this week. And likely it's going to stay like that for at least another few days. Meanwhile, however, if you take a look at center disk, you can see this big filament. And on the 30th, wham, right there, the sun launches that filament as an Earth-directed solar storm. Now, right now, we're waiting for coronagraph images so that we can run solar storm prediction models and get an idea of when the storm's going to hit Earth. But giving a kind of an educated guess, it's going to likely be sometime on the 3rd. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, for those of you responding to Hurricane Idalia and the disaster relief efforts, if you are a drone pilot, be sure to calibrate your magnetometers often, especially on Earth's night side if you're doing nighttime operations. And if you're an amateur radio operator, understand that once the storm hits, we're going to have issues with radio propagation, especially on Earth's night side. So go down to lower frequencies, because those lower frequencies can ride out the storm a bit better, because we may have impacts from the 3rd to the 4th and possibly to the 5th before things calm down. But luckily, dayside operations should remain reasonably good over that period of time, with only minor degradations near dawn and near dusk. So just be aware of that those types of things could be issues for you as you continue your search and rescue. For more details on this week's space weather, including how this coming storm might affect you or the hurricane relief operations, come check out my channel or see me at spaceweatherwoman.com.
Thank you, Dr. T. Always appreciate your efforts and also the efforts of the Amateur Radio Newsline team. We have a great team, and we're proud to have Dr. T a part of that team, and the Ham Nation team as well. We're just all one big, happy, dysfunctional family, kind of like me and my sisters. And by the way, go outside and look up. If you're not to a point where you can sling RF at it, at least go out and look at the full moon, supermoon, blue moon. It's a very rare event to have all three happen on the same night. So go outside, look up, enjoy that, and what the heck? Do like my son used to do when he was little. Howl at the moon, why don't you? He was born on a lunar eclipse, January 20th, 2000, and he as a toddler would go outside, look up at the moon, and howl at it. I swear it's true. So in honor of Tyler N7TMW, go outside and howl at the moon. Give your neighbors something else to talk about for a change, Josh.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, that's our show for this evening, guys. Got a couple of mentions we got to make. The Colorado QSO party starts Saturday, and I'm probably safe to assume that Amanda's going to be on the air for that. So if you're interested in hearing Amanda, because you didn't hear her this week on Ham Nation, make sure you get onto the Colorado QSO party. Also, we've got Kevin KC5 FPF on 40 meters, possibly 7.192 for the net, if that's still going on. And K7 UDI is going to be on 20 meters, likely around 14.268, or he's hopped over to 75 meters at that point. And for D-Star, the after net, I think it's going to be on, although I didn't see the comment during the live stream, is going to be on 14 Charlie. So make sure you go check out our nets as well. And it was great to have Bob on, but that's why you don't see Bob right now, because he's headed off to go relax a bit. But Val, how are things with the moon? Do we have an update on the moon?
He's here. He heard Lance on Rodriguez Island. He still hasn't worked him, but he's persistent.
Okay.
He's still at it. So
it's halfway
usually
there.
we only get an hour and a half window at moonrise and moonset. So that window should be ending in about 20 minutes, I think. So hopefully. Okay. But and don't forget the INDEXA QSO party this weekend too, going to the following weekend. So gotta work Jerry. 25 points.
So looks like KG2MM Ham Radio just worked E5 1D. Is that what that is? Yeah, E5 1D.
Maybe it was Hal. He just worked Hal. Maybe I don't know.
On FT8, so it's possible.
We have a team doing it, so it might not be him.
Yeah, right on.
Very cool.
Don, anything you got to mention before we wrap things up?
Nope. Just everybody have a very safe Labor Day. Enjoy it if you have the day off. I do not. I will be working Monday, but that's okay. So.
And I am trying to communicate with Gordo in the background. It does sound like it was an IT issue, so I'll work with him to make sure we get him back on the next episode. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. We really do appreciate it. I will have Ward Silver on my next show on Saturday.
There you go.
We'll be talking about his new book on radio propagation.
Very cool.
A mystic art that everybody likes to know more about. So make sure you tune in for that. All right, everybody?
He's a wealth of knowledge. He is
yes,
smart
he is.
funny.
Very funny.
He's one of those multi-talented guys,
Yeah.
He's a Renaissance man.
I love interviewing him. He's one of my favorite people to interview because he's
so easy to interview.
So easy.
Hal's easy. Hal was easy.
Hal's great. Hal, you got to come back soon.
What's
going on?
All right, everybody. We'll say 73. Get out there and enjoy your ham radio. See ya.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.